Betrayal. In Everquest 2. What is betrayal? Why is betrayal? How is betrayal? Who is betrayal? All these questions answered and more. Now, this video was originally done on the Everquest 2 Origin Server Beta, and the focus of this video will mostly be around that server. What is betrayal? Betrayal, or betraying, is the act of switching your hometown from either Qeynos to Freeport or Freeport to Qeynos. There's a lot more options on live, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. Why betray? So out of each archetype, each class can either be good, evil, or neutral. Good classes are locked to Qeynos, evil classes are locked to Freeport, and neutral classes can choose either Freeport or Qeynos. Now, probably the biggest reason people betray is to have a race with a different alignment. For example, a Dark Elf Conjurer who lives in Qeynos, or a Dwarf Shadow Knight at Freeport. Now, if you're a neutral class, when you betray, you can choose to either keep your current class or switch to the other one. So the big question on everyone's mind is, how do you betray? In order to betray either Qeynos or Freeport, you first need to be at least level 10, and if you plan on betraying Freeport, you also need 1 whole gold, but we'll get into that later. I was also able to solo all the main betrayal quests, but there were some really close encounters that I'll get into that later. But if you convince a friend to help you, it'll be 10 times easier. Now, I've heard other people can help with the instances without needing to betray, but I don't know personally. I also highly recommend that you get Sprint and you hotbar it now, because good lord, you're going to need it. You betray from Qeynos to Freeport by first talking to Sprock Fuddle at Qeynos Harbor. You can find him under this area that you have to swim through and go through a hole and then climb back up. This will start the quest Dissatisfied with Qeynos. Now, this quest is going to send you all over Qeynos. First, you're going to head over to Vernon in Qeynos Harbor. And then we'll head over to Mary here. And for Mary, you want to choose the following dialogue options. You said something about a shield. Did he choose his work over you? Who could blame you? Sounds more like you're better off without him. And why would you want to talk with that loser anyways? You'll then have to head over to Theory at South Qeynos, in which you want to choose the following dialogue options. Been talking to Mary Dillon. I was under the impression you left her. So what happened? Mary's still pining away for you. More worthwhile than your wife. After that, you want to head to Elenia, who's also in South Qeynos, and you want to choose, sorry, it sounds as though you're working on something big. It's obviously not as important as you are. Who's Towser Filtz Gilbert? Thank God you're in charge. Then you're going to head over to Elder Grove, which probably the easiest way to get there is through the Baubleshire, through some bells. And you're going to find and talk to Filtz Gubert. And you're going to want to choose the following. I've heard about you from Elenia Umalia. Sounds like you're a compassionate person and a smart one. She's not a very friendly sort. Elenia couldn't help boasting a transparent effort to put you down, really. Your device would be much better, I'm sure. You're a genius, Fitzgilbert. Then we'll head back over to the Baubleshire and we'll talk with Arboronaut Jumroller and choose. You're friends with Filtz Gilbert, aren't you? I hear Towser's a great teacher. I met him through the design contest. Truth potion? Then we'll head over to Joe Ironshield in North Qeynos, and thankfully you can just mash through this one. A short distance away you'll find Magus Wexshaw, again no hard choices. And finally you head back to Qeynos Harbor and talk with Vernon again to finish the quest. Vernon will offer the next quest, the Concordium's Delivery. Now, this quest has to be done during the night hours between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. If you don't know what time it is, you just hit /time and see what the current time is in game. This quest has you eavesdrop on 5 targets in South Qeynos. To do this, you examine the voice modulator in your inventory and choose to put the device in your ear. If you're not in the right place, you'll get a message about how you'll be suffering hearing damage. So just try to mimic the places that I go to in the video. First is Augur Phineas, then Augur whatever Aaron, then whatever Varlan, then Novitate Emily Shorecaster, that's a name I can pronounce, and finally whatever Carnather. Once you're done, you'll head back to Tower Fitzgibbert in Elder Grove to turn it in. Fitzgobbler will then give you the quest, Unlocking the Plans. Now, you can do this one during the day hours, but if you do, you'll have to fight some guards every time you click the box. So, head over to Concordium Tower, aka the Mages Guild, go through the red portal, and click on the locked box down the stairs. Then we'll swing over by Arbonot Gemroller again in Baubleshire to get the replicated key. Then head back over to the locked box in the tower that we clicked before. Click it again and you'll receive the secret plans. Then head back to Fitzgruber in Elder Grove to turn in this quest. Now, the next quest he offers is the actual betrayal. And the game makes sure you know what you're getting into. If you betray, all your spells will rank down to Apprentice 1. You will be an exile who is hated by both cities until you get the appropriate faction and quest done. And the game even makes you write down your character's name and hit enter, so it's entirely your fault for not knowing what you signed up for. You also get the quote-unquote exile title, but once you get citizenship, you lose that title. After you sign your organs away, you will begin destroy the Qeynosian shield generators. After you tell them you're ready, you will be sent to an instance of the tower. When you zone in, you have to kill Augur Valerian. I had some troubles with this fight, but here are my general tips. First, double check that all your buffs are up, especially if you just died. Then, make sure your auto attack is on, even if you're a caster. And then use heroic opportunities whenever you can. Now, if you get really desperate, you can buy some Adepts or maybe some Apprentices 3, but you should be, for the most part, fine. After dispatching him, he will drop a chest with 3 eggs that are very important. With the eggs in tow, you want to examine and put the blue egg next to the purple egg and the yellow egg next to the orange egg, and this will unlock the red portal. If you're not 100% sure which egg you're near, it'll say in some text above you. Also, if you place all 3 eggs, none of the portals will open, so don't worry about that. At the red floor, there will be some enemies, most of which will be singles, but then you'll head down and click this orb-looking thing to continue. Once you're done, head back from the red portal and go back to the base floor. When you're back, pick up any eggs that you've already placed, then place the red egg next to the purple egg and the yellow egg next to the green egg. This will open up the blue portal, so you want to go through there and go to the blue floor. Only thing worth noting on this floor is the pair of mobs near the orb. If you get really unlucky, you might get 2 pet class mobs, and you might die, but you should for the most part be okay. Again, click on this orb, and then head back down to the base floor. Once you're back down, pick up the eggs again, and then place the red egg next to the orange egg, then the blue egg next to the green egg. This will open up the yellow portal, and you want to head in there. Similar to the blue floor, the yellow floor has a pair of mobs that might give you trouble. Luckily, should you die, you're still good with Qeynos and the guards are cool with you, plus it saves your quest progress, so dying isn't a huge setback. The downside is that you have to kill the egg dude again and loot the eggs, but it respawns everything else in the instance, so you might get better spawns. Once you've dispatched everything, head down the stairs and click the orb, and then head back to the base floor. Oh, look at this, we have some new friends, let's go talk to them. Well, we're a filthy exile now. Go talk to the nearby guy and finish the quest. Since we're betraying Qeynos to join Freeport, we want to head to Antonica. Haven can zone to either Thundering Steppes or Nectalos Forest. I recommend Nectalos Forest, as Thundering Steppes sends you all the way here. Both routes will have you avoiding level 20-ish mobs, so you're going to have to be careful either way that you go. Going from Nectalos Forest to the docks, you're going to use the bell at the docks to go to the Thundering Steppes, and then once you're at the Thundering Steppes docks, you're going to travel a short distance to Antonica. Once you're back in Antonica, head to the Qeynos gates where you'll see Gol Mthun. He'll offer a variety of quests to gain Freeport Faction with. Now, normally people would say that the Loyalty quests are the best route to take, but now they're probably easier to do with friends or if you have stealth or invisibility, but I might have found a better way to gain faction with Freeport. Choosing the third option, or I would like to hit them inside their own walls, will start sabotage quests. For sabotage quests, I recommend you remove all your armor to save on repair bills, but I'll get into that later. These have a 30-minute time limit, but unless there's a ton of people trying to get these items, I wouldn't be that worried about it. In order to complete the objectives for these quests, we need to first sneak into Qeynos. To do this, you need to follow this path. From Antonica, head to Peat Bog, avoid any guards at the entrance of the Peat Bog, and then run into Verminsnide. Walk 2 feet into the zone, and then zone into the down below. And finally here, at this junction, you can get to the majority of Qeynos. I had the most success doing the sabotage quest in North Qeynos, mainly because South Qeynos and Qeynos Harbor have more guards that are harder to dodge than in North Qeynos. Now, out of all the sabotage quests, I recommend you don't do bookkeeping or flora. These only spawn inside the buildings, and there simply aren't that many spawns in North Qeynos. There's probably more in South Qeynos, but, you know, the guards. Now, the rest of these quests have spawns outside the buildings. I'm going to quickly show off the spawns for the other quests and then go into the best method. Out of Duck, Toxic Bread, the Signed Scrolls, the Stolen Payroll. Now, the best one is Creating an Imbalance, because there are only 2 spawns you have to click, and you can quickly get back to the quest giver. First, you click on these little beakers, which spawn inside the buildings, but there's also one that spawns in the hay by this little inn/stable. Then you click on a weapon rack placed also outside the buildings, which I never really had that much trouble finding. Then head back to What's His Face, and you're done. Now, if you really want to speed this up and you don't mind a little bit of EXP debt, on Origin there's no EXP debt in Live. As soon as you get the weapon rack, just walk into a guard and die. This will respawn you next to the quest giver. Now, if you do this right, you only get about 10% EXP debt total, which if you do at level 10 is not that bad. You can get that back pretty quickly. Again, you don't have to, but you would have to go all the way back through the sewers to Antonica. Now, because he offers a random quest every time you talk with him, you can just sit there and spam the quest offers until you get Creating an Imbalance. Now, if there's a ton of people trying to get these ground spawns at launch, the Loyalty quests, aka the 4th option, would probably be the best way to go in these instances. My guess is you probably either want the Seed of Turnibos or Spreading the Truth, but I couldn't do either of these solo as a class without stealth, so your guess is as good as mine. However you get the faction, you need plus 10,000 faction or ambicle with Freeport before Gol Mthun will offer becoming a citizen of Freeport. This quest simply has you go all the way back to Freeport, which if you don't know is Antonica, to Thundering Steppes, to Nectulia's Forest, to Commonlands, to Freeport. Once in Freeport, head to North Freeport and talk with Matthias Siegemaker, and this will complete this quest. Matthias will then offer knowing your place in Freeport, and oh boy, this sure is a quest. Matthias will give you a whistle to summon a dog, in which your job is to build trust in it. If you left click on the dog, you'll get a window that pops up that tells you how far along with trust you are with the dog. But basically, you just right click on the dog and choose either feed or pet, and it's completely random. I mainly did petting with some feed sprinkled in there, but just keep clicking, it doesn't matter. Once the dog trusts you, you have to start doing tricks with it, and again, just pick whatever tricks you want until the quest is done. Finally, when it's all said and done, you have to, yeah. After your crimes against humanity, talk to Matthias to complete the quest. After this, he will offer Ending the Revolution. This quest has you go all the way back to Antonica to enter an instance that's above Stormhold. And once you do get there, you want to choose the Squire's Vale instance. Now, you can either kill or ignore most of the mobs in this instance, but you only have to worry about Shay Tavati. She will die, then summon an elemental a couple of times until she finally bites the dust for realsies. If you should die, it'll boot you out, but it'll remember your progress, so you won't have to fight all of her forms again. After all that, head all the way back to Matthias in Freeport and turn in the quest. Now you simply head to your class-specific area and talk to your class trainer that you're switching to, and ta-da! You are now a citizen of Freeport. But was it worth it? Anyways, time to betray from Freeport to Qeynos. Now there may or may not be a quest to do before this one, but if there is, I'll put something in the comments or description. But I found this starting in South Freeport with Corporal Henk Rhymebreaker, who gives listening in for Qeynos. For this quest, you'll be placing weird bug listening devices. First here in East Freeport, then here in West Freeport, here in North Freeport, here in South Freeport, and finally here in Temple Street. After that, you want to head to West Freeport, to this building, and turn in the quest to Izay Mirsteer, after which they will offer the quest Timing the Night Shift. Just like the Qeynos Betrayal, this quest can only be done at night after 8 PM, so /time in game to see what time it is. Anyways, you want to head to the following spots to eavesdrop on them by examining the voice modulator and then selecting Place in Your Ear when you see Hidden Location. All these are in West Freeport. Commandant Dominicus, Commandant Arcadios, Man-at-Arms Faustus, Commandant Placidia, and finally Commandant Torval. Once you're done, head back to Izay Mirsteer, who will send you to Mahina in East Freeport to complete the quest. Mahina will then offer Resetting the Militia. Just like the Qeynos quest, if you do this part during the day, you'll have to fight a guard, but you can still complete it. Head over and click the board in the Freeport Militia House here. After getting the schedule, you're going to head over to Long Shadow Alley and talk with Jutra here to get a forgery of the schedule. After that, you're going to head back and click the board again to replace the schedule with the forged one. And finally, head back to Mahina in East Freeport to complete the quest. Then you'll have to head to Izzy in West Freeport. This is the real betrayal quest, after which you'll be exiled and hated by both cities. So sign your name in blood and tell him ready instance, whatever, blah. He will send you to an instance of the militia house. On your left is an explosive device that you want to pick up, and then head to the second floor and kill Commandant Blood Soul, and you'll get a key. Then you have to work your way up to the very top floor. Now, I had the hardest time with this quest, Purple Club! You really have to appreciate purple clubbing in EverQuest 2, because it basically never happens. Anyways, like I said, for the Qeynos Betrayal, make sure your auto attack is on, use heroic opportunities, double check your buffs are up, and be patient and pull these encounters one at a time if you want to avoid any ads. Should you die, it will remember your quest progress, but you'll have to get another explosive and you'll have to kill the commandant again because his aggro range is a little big. Once you're all the way up in the furthest room, examine the explosives, select place device, and then click on the device to use it. Head back to the entrance and pick up another explosive device, then head downstairs into the prison. Now, if you're not careful, you might get more than a couple ads here, so you can do what I do and pull the set of ads around the corner like this. Once everything is clear, simply open up the prison cells to free the 5 prisoners, then place the explosives and line them up. Head back to the entrance and we'll meet our new friends.
Ow.
Welp or Filthy Exiles. Talk to the nearby guard and finish the quest, whatever. Since we're hated by both cities, we need to build faction with the city we want to go to. And since we want to build faction with Qeynos, we want to head back to the Commonlands and head to the gate of Freeport. There you'll find Gil McMartin. Now, I didn't have to do much research with this one because there's a really good way that makes the other ways kind of inferior. So you want to choose the 4th option and then get and cancel quests until you finally get Extracting the Defector. There you want to head to the docks in Commonlands where you will choose Stone Stair Byway. Here you'll walk forward and enter Thieves Way. And in Thieves Way you want to follow the way that I go and then finally click the grate to move to South Freeport. At South Freeport, you want to go up the nearby stairs, and then there's a door to click on, which will take you to the instance. Once you're in the instance, click on the troll lady and hail her with the H key, and walk to the back with the captain. Now, before you talk with him, the second you choose the top option, it will aggro everything, and you'll have to sprint up to the top and click a tree. So get a hang of the route that you have to take, and then once you're ready, hit the sprint button, hail him, and choose the top one. Then make a mad dash at the top and click the tree. Should you die, it'll remember your spot in the quest, so you'll just have to dash to the tree without having to talk with the guy in the back. Now, when I did this on the beta server, I had a hard time fighting guards nearby that would actually kill me, so I just used the bell on East Freeport to get to the Commonlands, then walk back to Gil. But if you can find any Freeport guards nearby without a lot of hassle, I would recommend it, as that'll put you nearby Gil when you respawn. Anyways, do this until you're at plus 10,000 faction. With Qeynos, then Gil will offer the Citizenship quest. Head all the way to Qeynos by going to Commonlands, then the Nectalos Forest, then at the Nectalos Forest dock, using the bell to Thundering Steps, going up to Antonica, and then finally Qeynos. Head to Concordium Tower in South Qeynos, then talk with Vishra to complete this quest, after which he will offer Fulfillment of Dreams. This quest first has you picking up 30 pieces of trash, and these just spawn all over the roads in Antonica. After which you need to head back to Qeynos and enter the Nettleville Hovel. Here you need to find Friar Montego and give him a whole heckin' gold for this stupid donation receipt. Now, if you're short of gold at level 10 like I was, here's some suggestions. Selling stuff on the broker like collectibles, recipe books, and adepts, etc. Also, it seems like doing group quests give decent amounts of money. And if all else fails, just kill stuff and bend the chest drops. Once you hand your life savings away, head back to Vishra and this will complete the quest. Vishra will then offer Quieting Discontent, which is an instance he'll send to you after you say you are ready. I honestly found this instance to be the easiest in terms of combat. So if you could do the Militia House instance quest that you did earlier, you should be good here. Just keep killing Grand Inquisitor T-Lex until the quest is done, then zone out and talk with Vishra to complete the quest. He will then offer Freeport to Qeynos Acceptance, in which you head to your class area and change your class, and ta-da, you're now a citizen of Qeynos. But was it worth it? No. I could have fought so many collectibles. And that's both the Betrayal quests. Again, this was focused on the Origin server, but the quests on Live are similar. The only difference being there's no racial villages on Live, so follow the guide resources in the link below. And if this video did help you out, be sure to give the video a like and the channel a sub. And if it didn't help you, well then I'll just cry silently on the inside. I also plan on streaming the Everquest 2 Origin server when it launches on both my Twitch and YouTube, so head there if you want to see it. But that's it for the day, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Who is the Betrayal? Darkpaw giving us 4 freaking days alert? What the hell?